Hello everyone and welcome to today's lecture. So today we are going to cover the peer review guidelines and then we'll be shifting to the quality review. Just a reminder, okay, in last lecture, Madam also spoke about the way that we are going to cover these lectures. Okay, so what we will be doing is we will be focusing more on the practical side of these lectures this time, and we expect that that you guys should watch the lectures which are already there. So see, lectures are already there of the last batch and previous batch. Okay, and all these lectures and all the content is already available on the BOS portal. So from SA 200 series, and we what we will be doing is we will be covering the questions, the practical side of these standards, how to answer the question, how to write the answers in the exam, what are the key points that are required to be focused while writing an answer. So that side will be focused more this time, and we will be trying to cover more practical side so that you guys can get the confidence that how to write an answer in the exam. Because what happens is, a lot of queries come that, okay, we have done the preparation, we have done everything, but still we lack somewhere. But still we are not able to write the answer. But still we are not able to, attempt the question in the exam. So we will be focusing that side more. So I expect, that support from you guys, that please watch those lectures. Like for example, next lecture on SA 200 series, I expect a support from you guys that please watch the SA 200 series lectures of the last batch, or the video lectures that are available on the BOS portal. Okay, so that once I start in the next lecture discussion on the SA 200 series, questions and everything, it will be helpful for me and helpful for you guys also, that you will be able to understand what I am discussing. It's very important that you should watch in advance those lectures. Okay, otherwise it will be a bit difficult for you guys also to understand, and and it will be a bit difficult for us also to ensure the coordination. Okay, so I'll request, please watch the lectures, okay, well in advance, and be ready with your queries. Now coming to today's lecture, peer review guidelines. So earlier it was peer review statement. This is something new, peer review guidelines, which were issued in 2022 October. Okay, and then it is applicable. We discussed a lot of portion of this particular guidelines in last lecture. Just to give you a quick summary, okay, like we discussed about what is peer review, we discuss about the assurance engagement, we discuss about the definition of technical, professional, and ethical standard, audit quality and maturity model, like the requirements. Then we also discussed about the exceptions to the assurance engagement. What are the definitions of assurance engagement and what is the exception to that? Then we discuss about the objective of peer review. Okay, practice unit, new unit. Then criteria for the peer review. What is peer review mandate? 5 types, 5 cases where peer review is required to be done. 5 criteria. One was mandate, second voluntary, special case review, new unit, and as prescribed by the board. Then peer review procedure. Then we discuss about reporting by peer review, peer reviewer. What is the all procedure? Then we discussed about the minimum sample selection size. Okay, so these all areas we discussed in the last lecture. Now, I will suggest, like, if you have any doubt, you can ask during the lecture itself. So don't wait, for any particular moment. Just ask the questions. As and when I will be, having a time, or I will be, in a position to take the question, I'll definitely take it out. Okay. Now, continuing this topic, basically, we discussed about the minimum sample and everything for the existing one. Now, there are 2 things I need to still cover in the peer review. Number 1 is the qualification of the peer reviewer. What are the qualifications required to be a peer reviewer? Okay, and there is a separate detailed guidelines given in peer review guidelines on this particular part. Okay. Now, when I say eligibility, so eligibility to be a peer reviewer. Okay. Now, when I say eligibility, there are certain conditions laid down. Okay, you need to fulfill these conditions to be a peer reviewer. Now, what are these conditions? Number one, like a chartered accountant eligible. If he wants to be eligible to be a peer reviewer, he needs to be member in practice. First of all, so he should be member in practice. Now, okay. Second, if he's second condition, he should have at least 7 years of assurance practice experience. At the least 7 years of experience in assurance practice. Okay. Now, what if the person has, like he was earlier in employment and then he shifted to the practice. So in that case, there is a separate conditions for such kind of members, and that is a member who is in employment and subsequently has came into the practice. He is required to have two things. One, at least 10 years of experience in employment. So 10 years audit experience, okay, in practice. Plus, and that should be at the time of enrollment and appointment of peer reviewer. He should satisfy these conditions. Okay. So, as I said, either he should have at least 7 years of experience. If he's full-time practice since start. If he's not in full-time practice, he was earlier in employment, then at least 10 years of experience in employment plus 3 years of audit experience in practice after leaving the employment. So these are the eligibility requirements to be a peer reviewer. But there are certain additional areas that are required to be looked into, or some additional criteria that are required to be looked into to be a peer reviewer. Now, what are these additional? You can say sort of, a negative list means if a peer reviewer or if a chartered accountant is having any of these items, then he cannot be a peer reviewer. Okay. So, negative list / disqualifications. Okay. Now, what are these? If any of the disciplinary action proceeding is pending against him. So, pending disciplinary action / proceedings. Okay. If this is the case, then he becomes this. He is not eligible to get appointed as a peer reviewer or to get enrolled as a peer reviewer. Second, he has been found guilty of professional misconduct or other misconduct. Remember, like there is a professional misconduct, other misconduct in professional ethics chapter. We will be discussing about, or you might have read already something out of that. So if he's been found guilty of professional and other misconduct, he is disqualified. Guilty of professional and other misconduct. Okay. Okay. Third, he should not have been, or if he's been convicted by a competent court where he was, involved in moral turpitude and he has been punished with imprisonment, then at that particular point in time, he becomes disqualified for being a peer reviewer. So, convicted by a competent court plus punishable with imprisonment. Then he becomes again disqualified or he falls under this negative list. Okay, now he should not have accepted any professional assignment from that practice unit for the period of 2 years from the date of appointment, and should not have accepted any professional assignment from again that practice unit for a period of 2 years prior to. There are two things. One, he should not accept in the coming future, plus he should not have accepted in the past also. So, should not have accepted in past 2 years any professional assignment from that practice unit, plus should not accept, okay, in next 2 years basically, should not accept any professional assignment for next 2 years. Okay, so this should be the condition. This is the condition that they need to satisfy. Okay, now another thing is, if a member, okay, is de-empaneled, or if a member is, gets his name removed from the register, surrender his COP, or because of something his name is removed from the register of members, then his name will also be removed from this particular peer review empanelment. So he will be de-empaneled by the board if his name is removed from the register of members because of any reason. So both are linked. Now all this thing is subject to the form of declaration that he needs to provide, the peer reviewer is required to provide in form 2. Okay, declaration of confidentiality. Now he needs to provide that form, then only his appointment as a peer reviewer can be confirmed. Plus he should be, he should have undergone training decided by the board with respect to the peer review, and he should have cleared the test for the peer review. So test is also mandatory to become a peer reviewer. Okay, so if these are the conditions, then he can be empaneled for 2 years. Now, once these conditions are satisfied, a member can be empaneled as a peer reviewer, okay, for 3 years. 3 years from the date of peer review test. So that's the maximum duration. Okay. Once in every 3 years, he needs to provide, all the details of that he is still eligible and qualified to be a peer reviewer. But the maximum duration can be 3 years. Then after again 3 years, he needs to, undergo the training, the test, and everything again. And that is something, he needs to do within 6 months of his expiry of his empanelment. I hope I'm clear. Any doubts till now? Okay. So there is one doubt. In case of Mr. X has an audit experience from period 2000 to 2004 and he joined employment for 7 years. And after 7 years, he started practice. So three period of experience before employment will be counted. Okay. Now, let's go back again and see. When I talk about member being in practice and earlier he was in employment. So what the provision says that a member in employment who has been subsequently obtained a certificate of practice should have at least 10 years of experience. First of all, 10 years of experience in employment. Second, at least 3 years of experience in practice and is in whole-time practice at the time of enrollment and appointment. If he satisfies these two conditions, then he can be appointed as a peer reviewer. So first of all, my experience in employment should be of 10 years. Number two, I should have a 3 years of audit experience as a practice. Number three, I should be in practice whole time at the time of appointment and enrollment as a peer reviewer. So 3 years of audit practice can be before, but at the time of enrollment, I should be in practice whole time. Okay. So these are the three conditions that I need to satisfy. That is, so there is another question. What will be included in other misconduct? See, when we will see the professional ethics chapter at that particular point in time, we will look into, various schedules. And in that various schedules, we will be discussing about, you can say, what are the misconducts and what are the other misconducts. So that will be covered at that particular point in time. I will be explaining in detail, okay, what is the difference between professional misconduct and what is the difference between other misconduct. Basically, if you see first schedule, second schedule, in first schedule, part 4 and second schedule, part 3, they both deal into other misconduct. First schedule, part 1, 2, 3 and second schedule, part 1 and part 2 deals with professional misconduct. Again, we will be discussing this topic in detail once we will, discuss professional ethics in the later chapters. Okay. So that will be covered in a later point in time. Any doubt till now? Any doubt? Okay. Now, this was the qualifications and eligibility for the practice for the peer reviewer. Having said that, now there are some obligations which are defined for the practice unit and for the peer reviewer board. These obligations include the duties they need to fulfill. For example, in case of any non-compliance, they are required to report. Peer reviewer is not required or is not allowed to take any extracts of the practice unit client's file or records which are made available to him. Then peer reviewer shall complete the review within the prescribed time frame. So there are some obligations and they need to fulfill these obligations. Same way practice units have some obligations and they are required to fulfill these obligations. Okay. When I say obligations, these are the duties that are entrusted and is expected from them. Let's say, for example, for practice unit, they are required to provide all the details and information true and correct to their knowledge to the peer reviewer. They are required to support the peer reviewer. They are required to coordinate with the peer reviewer, and the practice unit is responsible for the accountability, is accountable and responsible for the accuracy and truthfulness of the information provided. So all these things are there for the obligations of practice unit and the peer reviewer. Now, the next topic I want to cover with respect to the peer review only is peer review for the new units. Very important. Okay. Till now, what we were discussing was the peer review with respect to the existing units. Now, remember when we were discussing the peer review criteria, I told you there are 5 criteria, and one of such was for the new unit, new practicing unit. Okay. And we discussed the new practice unit definition also, that it should have been established either less than 12 months. Okay. Or if it is established more than 12 months before, but it should have not provided any assurance service. Okay. These are the conditions for definition for new unit. Now, based on this definition, there are certain criteria which are laid down for the peer review of new units. Let us see those criteria. Yeah. So now peer review for the new units. Now, when I talk about peer review for the new units, there are certain criteria that are required to be fulfilled for the practice unit to get entitled the peer review certificate. So, first, I'll talk about the criteria to get entitled that the new practice unit must fulfill to get a peer review certificate. Okay. Now, why this criteria is there and what is the purpose of this criteria? See, this criteria basically, talks about that, okay, when there is a new unit, there should be something that is, there for the review. If there is no practice done by assurance, new practice unit, if there is no engagement performed by that practice unit and it is a very new practice unit, in those cases, it becomes very difficult to perform a peer review. You cannot perform a peer review if you do not have a population. You cannot perform peer review if you do not have any assurance engagement to review. How can I give a certificate of a peer review when there is nothing to review? So there are certain criteria that are required to be fulfilled before they get eligible to get a peer review certificate. What are these criteria? Okay. So first, the practice unit should have a partner or proprietor or employee, charter accountant, who is or was a partner, proprietor of a firm having peer review certificate that is valid on the date of application. Okay, so again, practice unit should have a partner. Practice unit should have a partner, okay, slash proprietor slash employee CA, okay, who is slash was a partner, proprietor, okay, of a firm having a peer review certificate valid at the date of application. Okay. First condition should be this one. Okay. Second, there is another condition to this one. I'll say or the partner or proprietor of the practice unit as the case may be, okay, is an empaneled peer reviewer. Who has qualified the test. That is the condition number one. Condition number two. Policies, procedure, infrastructure of the practice unit should be in conformity with these standards on quality control. That is SQC1. So policies, procedure, okay, and infrastructure should be in conformity with SQC1. Means that the policies, procedures of the new unit, including the infrastructure, and when I talk about the infrastructure, it is the systems and the other things which are present in the organization should be in conformity with the SQC1. And when I say SQC1, means the guidelines, the requirements are fulfilled of the SQC1. Okay. So their policies, procedures fulfill the requirement that is prescribed in the SQC1. You can say that. Another condition is the partner of the practice unit or the proprietor has carried out audit of listed company in last 3 years. So the partner slash proprietor of practice unit should have carried out audit of listed company in last 3 years. Okay, so these are the conditions that a practice unit, new practice unit, has to satisfy in order to get entitled, or in order to be entitled to get a peer review certificate. If these conditions are not met, then the new practice unit cannot apply for a peer review certificate. And these things and these conditions are mentioned in the form 1, that is application cum declaration form, wherein there are specific clauses which talks about these conditions. Any doubt? Any doubt till now? Okay. Now remember, we talked about sample selection guidelines. In case of new practice unit, we already face area where we have a very less samples or less assurance engagement. That's why they are the new practice unit. Okay. Now, what is the scenario is that for a new practice unit, the reviewer is required to select 100% of the population. Okay. So the samples that are required to be selected is 100% for the new unit. If you see, when we discussed the sample selection guidelines, we discussed based on the firm's existence, like greater than 3 years, less than greater than 1 year, less than 3 years, and for less than 1 year, we discussed that refer new unit. Okay. Now, in case of new unit, sample selection for new unit, by default, it is 100%. Now, what if the practice unit has not rendered any assurance service? Then what? Let's say, for example, they have satisfied this condition. Like, the partner and proprietor was a partner or proprietor of a firm that is having peer review certificate. Policies are in conformation with the STC1. Partner has done the audit when he was, partner in another firm. He has done the audit of a listed entity in last 3 years. But currently, the firm for which they are applying, it has not rendered any assurance engagement. Then what? In that case, that is required to be mentioned in the peer review certificate or the report that the firm has not rendered any assurance engagement till now. Okay. And the validity of the peer review certificate for a new unit will be 18 months. Clear? Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? See, now there is a good question. Is it mandatory for new practice unit to do peer review? Let's go back to the criteria of the peer review. Okay. As per the criteria of the peer review, there were 5 criteria: mandatory, voluntary, special case review, new practice unit, and as prescribed by board. Other criteria prescribed by board. So when I talk about is it mandatory, so it is mandatory only for the first If you fall under the peer review mandate, then it is mandatory to get a peer review certificate. And what is the peer review mandate talks about? Okay, so when I talk about peer review mandate, it is these firms are there, like already providing assurance, statutory, already doing statutory audit of listed entities, or you can say already doing the statutory audit of unlisted public entities, like have these criteria. So we discussed about this peer review mandate in last lecture in detail. Or if they have these or more partners. So if in any of the conditions a firm falls, if any of these particular conditions, then it becomes mandatory for them to get the peer review certificate. Okay. If they do not fall in any of these conditions, if they do not fall in any of these conditions, then it is not mandatory for them. It is either voluntary, or it is either something, for the new practitioner case, or it's a special case. Now it does not become mandatory for them. Okay. So mandatory is only as per the mandate. I hope I am clear. Another question is it necessary to satisfy all these conditions? Answer is yes. Unless and otherwise, unless I have mentioned or, it is necessary to satisfy these conditions. This is and basically. Say plus. So this or this, then this and this. These three conditions are required to be satisfied. Any doubt for the new practice unit? Any doubt, guys? Very important topic. You might have already seen the paper, audit paper of yesterday. I'll say it's very important topic. So don't think that it will be of less marks or something like that. Well, I'll request to focus. I request to ask as many questions as you can. That will be very helpful for you guys also. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt? Feel free to ask. Okay. Now, let's see some of the questions. Let's discuss some of the practical questions and then we can move forward. Okay. So let's start with the questions and practical area so that we can have a more clarity on this. Akash and Associates, a chartered accountant firm, okay, having 5 partners, had the following engagement as on 31/3/2022. Central Statutory Audit of Broadbank, a public sector bank whose equity is listed on NSE. Statutory Branch Audit of Andaman Bank, a public sector bank again. Statutory Audit of Manpreet Aerotech Limited, unlisted public company having secured loans from bank and financial institutions of 85 crore as on 31/3/2021, and under which phase of peer review mandate the firm will fall. First phase, wherein they are required to get the peer review certificate, one from 1/4/2022. Second phase, where they are required to get the peer review certificate from 1/4/2022. or either first phase with respect to 1/4/2023 or second phase with respect to 1/4/2023. Come on, guys. What should be the correct answer here? So these are the engagement that this firm is taking. Okay. What should be the correct answer in the current case as per the peer review mandate? Come on, I'm waiting for your answers, guys. Okay. See, you need to focus upon what audits they are having and the number of partners. Correct, Janvi? I have just only received one answer till now. Come on, guys. What is the correct option that is required to be selected here? See, at least I'll say give a try. Then we can see, we'll see what is the correct answer. But at least give a try. So, you'll get a clarity that how it is, the mandate, how the mandate is about. Come on, guys, come on. See, good Kaushiki, correct answer. Okay, Jani, your question I'll take it after this particular question. Your question on the paper I'll take it after this question. Same with Namrata, yours. Okay, let's see the peer review mandate. Now, with respect to the peer review mandate, if a practicing unit which is proposing to undertake statutory audit of enterprise whose equity or debt securities are listed, then for them there is a prerequisite of having peer review certificate as on 1st April 2022. 1st April 2022. Okay, now in our case, if you see the case, in our case, they are undertaking the central statutory audit of broadband. But again, its equity is listed on NSE. Okay, it's listed in India. By default, if you have one audit also, okay, you are required to have peer review certificate from 1/4/2022. Okay, in that case, irrespective of other audits, I'll directly say that it falls under the first phase, wherein the firm is required to have a peer review certificate as a prerequisite from 1/4/2020. So second phase starts from 2023. So this is wrong answer. Again, first phase does not start from 2023. This is wrong. And this is about second phase, which is not the firm is falling under first phase. So the second phase answer is also. So correct answer is first phase, that is 01/4/2022. Okay. Now, with respect to your question, Namrata, that partner or proprietor has carried out audit of last 3 years in the case of uh, new unit and has carried out audit of listed and company for 3 years. But there is a gap of 2 years between audit carried out and application for peer review by new unit. Then, see, if you go back to the criteria of the peer review for the new unit, let's go back to the criteria. What the criteria says that the partner or proprietor of the practicing unit should have carried out the audit of listed entity in last 3 years. Okay, so he should have carried out the audit of listed entity in last 3 years. If he has done that, then it will be sufficient to qualify for this criteria. Now, if there is a gap, that is fine, but there should have been audit of listed company in last 3 years. It is not necessary that is immediately preceding, immediately last year. In any of the last 3 years, it is fine. I hope I am clear with the answer. So, any of the last 3 years, he should have done audit of listed company. It should be, it is fine if there is a 2-year gap. And he has done in the first year and there was 2-year gap and he has like this way, it is within last 3 years, but it should be in last 3 years. Okay. Then another question is with respect to the coverage of peer review and professional ethics in yesterday's paper. See, there is a coverage, there are questions, and there is the question is, are there any changes in marks allocation? Answer is no. To be precise, no. There are questions on peer review. There are 2 questions on the peer review. If you see, question 4C and question 5B, both are on peer review. Okay, so there is a coverage of peer review. There is a coverage of professional ethics. Even there is a question on no clerk. So there is a good coverage on these topics, and I'll suggest don't think there is a change in allocation. Rather consider that each and every topic is important. Okay. Let me take another question. After making the initial selection of audit/assurance files on 6/4/2023, Meta and Company, the peer reviewer, intimated Sujai and Associates practice unit as well as the board of their selection on 7/4/2023, that was Friday. Meta and Company proposed the date of visit to the practice unit office to verify the records of the selected assurance service to be 10/4/2023. So from 7 to 10, after 3 days, they decided to visit the office. However, Sujai and Associates declined the proposition by Meta and Company and asked them to visit on or after 12/4/2023. Kindly comment on the same. So you are required to comment with respect to this. Like, what should be the case here? Is the proposition by the Meta and Company to visit the office on 10/4/2023 is correct or not? If not, then why not? Whether the recommendation of the Sujai and Associates that please visit after 12/4/2023 is correct. So kindly comment on the same based on the procedure that has been laid down in the revised guidelines, the peer review guidelines 2022. quickly. So there's a question, is there any unlisted public company thing also? Yes, private limited, public limited. So if you have a public limited company, but it is not listed on the on any stock exchange, it's an unlisted public company. Come on, guys. Is this correct? In this question, you need to answer on two things. One, whether Mehta and company, whether the proposition by the Mehta and company to visit office on 10/4/2023 after selecting and communicating the samples on 7/4/2023 is correct. Number two, whether the suggestion by the Suja and company to visit on or after 12/4/2023 the office for the review of samples is appropriate or not. Come on, guys. It's about the peer review process that we have already done in the last lecture. See, that's why I say revisiting the lectures, it's very important, because if you revisit the lecture after we have done it, or let's say in the coming lectures also when we will discuss the questions, it is very important for you guys to have a look at the lectures before, read the material that you have, so that when we are discussing the question and answers, you will be able to answer it. Partially correct, Janvi. So you are close, but there is a correction required in your answer. So partially correct, I'll say. But good try, very good try. Kaushiki, your answer is, I can see half of your answer. I think rest has not appeared. Absolutely correct, Kaushiki. Your answer is correct. Okay. Now, what procedure says? Let's see the answer. Okay. As per clause 7, as per clause 7 of peer review guidelines 2022. Okay. On receiving the application cum questionnaire, the practitioner, the peer reviewer shall initiate the peer review by intimating practice unit of the proposed visit and the proposed sample to be kept ready by the practice unit. The proposed sample that are selected to be intimated by peer reviewer in form 5. Okay. Now, the reviewer shall plan for an on-site visit for an initial meeting and consultation with the practice unit. The reviewer shall give the practice unit at least 2 working days to keep the necessary records ready for the assurance services selected in form 5. Again, I'll place the emphasis on the at least 2 working days. Now, in the current portion, if you see, okay, samples are selected on 7/4/2023, that was Friday, and on 10/4/2023, the visit was planned, that is immediately next working day. So 2 working days are not provided over here. At least 2 working days are required to be provided. Hence, you can say that the proposition by the Mehta and Associates to visit the office on 10/4/2023 is not as per the clause 7 of the peer review guidelines. And the suggestion given by the Suja and Associates, okay, to visit on or after 12/4/2023 is as per the guidelines, because that gives the 2 working days to keep necessary records ready. Okay. So if you see here also, the suggestion by the Shuja and Associates is valid, as the practitioner must be provided at least 2 working days time to keep the necessary records ready. That is on or after 12/4/2023. Any doubt? Any doubt with respect to this question? Also, I'll say how I answered this question basically. See, first of all, I talked about the provision that is related to the topic here, that is critical to the topic. Let's say, for example, here, I'm talking about the clause 7, which talks about how a peer review is required to be conducted. Okay. Now, second, I talk about the current scenario. What is the situation in the current scenario? And then I combine both and conclude. Okay. So I talk about the provision, I talk about the current scenario, then I combine both and give a conclusion. So this is the way I should answer a question. Okay. Also, very important that when you are answering a question, people think it is necessary to mention the clause number, guidelines, year, okay, details. Yes, it is necessary to focus on some important details, like I will highlight in red. See, as per clause 7 of peer review guidelines, proposed samples that are to be selected and intimated by peer reviewer in form 5. Now, form 5, mentioning about the form 5, okay, mentioning about the on-site review, at least 2 working days. Now, some students, might confuse with respect to the 2 working days or 2 days. So when you are writing the answer, keep focus on, focus on the things which are critical to that answer. I do not wish to write unnecessary details, the whole procedure which is prescribed in clause 7. The relevant thing is required to be written, but that should be correct. I cannot write at least 2 days. I need to write at least 2 working days. Or sometimes, some students try to change the wording. Like, for example, instead of at least 2 working days, minimum 2 working days, or after 2 working days, something like that. Make sure whenever you change a bit of wordings, make sure that it's not changing the essence of that particular provision. It is said in a law, in a legal language, each word has its own meaning. Same way, when I talk about at least 2 working days, it is at least has its own meaning. At times, like if I only like 2 working days, or more than 2 working days, it differs. So there is one question, 2 working days from which date? From the intimation by the peer reviewer in form 5 about the proposed samples that are selected. From that particular date, 2 working days. Saturday is not a working day. Assuming that. So there is a question that should be the proposition by 11/4/2023. See, that's why I say on or after 12 means I have taken, the firm has taken the 2 working days. So on 7th, that was communicated. Now 2 working days from that. That is 10th and 11th. And after 12th, on or after 12, they can visit. Small thing, but important thing. Because first you are talking about the scenario, firms, names, and everything is there. Then you are talking about the provision, okay, where you will not be mentioning anything about the scenario. And then suddenly, again, you come back to the question and scenario and you try to correlate. I'll suggest do not go with that way. Again, if you are comfortable, you can go, but I feel that this way is more appropriate, because when you talk about current scenario and the conclusion, they both feel connected. So current scenario, from there you go to the conclusion, it feels connected in reading. Okay. Any doubts? Any doubt, or this question is clear? Okay. So Sriram, 7th, assuming Saturday and Sunday are not working days, 7th was a Friday. So from that way, 10th is Monday, next immediately next working day. Accordingly, I have given the answer that yes, it should be after 12. Or even let's say, for example, in that case, if you say Saturday is a working day, it should, let's say, I'll assume that Saturday is a working day if you are counting, then it should be 11. But it cannot be 10th. Reason because at least 2 working days are required to be given. And considering Friday and everything like this way, it is not coming within 2 working days. So Janvi, no, we are not required to count 7th April when the samples are given. This is generally, given that 7th April will not be counted. Okay. Now coming to the next question. Ashok and Company Charter Accountants submitted the application cum questionnaire in Form 1, okay, to the board for the peer review. However, while filling the Form 1, Ashok and Company missed filling Part B4, Human Resources, of the annexure. When J&K Associates peer reviewers identified the same, they sought missing information in Form 6 from Ashok and Company. The request was sent on 10/4/2023. Ashok and Company replied on 13/4/2023 and informed J&K Associate that all the information required for sample selection has already been shared in Form 1. And the missing information or any additional information required will be provided to J&K Associate during their on-site review. Kindly comment in the light of peer review guidelines 2022. Again, very good question. So it's about, there was a missing detail in the questionnaire. Okay. And Ashok and Company missed some detail in filling the Form 1. J&K Associates sought that information in Form 6, and the reply that was given by the Ashok and Company was that they will provide during on-site review. This is not necessary for the sample selection. So you select the samples and then you visit on-site and we'll provide you the information. Now kindly comment on this in the light of peer review guidelines. So as per you, what should be the correct way? Is Ashok and Company correct that they will share the information on the on-site revisit? What the provision says here. with respect to the additional information that is required by the peer reviewer. Come on, guys. What is the provision that talks about the additional information? What is the additional information provision in the peer review guidelines? Whether Ashok and Company is correct or whether J&K Associate is correct. Absolutely correct, Janvi. So let us see the answer. Same way. On the same line, I have tried to answer. See, practice unit which does peer review shall make an application in peer review application cum questionnaire in form 1. Okay. Now, on receiving the application cum questionnaire in form 1, practice from the practice unit, peer reviewer shall intimate the peer review, initiate the peer review by intimating the practice unit of the proposed visit and the proposed samples to be selected and kept ready by the practice unit. That is to be done in form 5. The reviewer may seek further additional clarification in form 6 from the practice unit on the information furnished or not furnished by the practice unit in the questionnaire. So, reviewer can see. Now, the practice unit shall provide this additional information to the reviewer within 1 working day. So, the provision talks about that within 1 working day, this information is required to be provided. In the current case, okay, what was the scenario is they missed out filling part 4 B for human resource of annexure. Basically, if you see part B of the annexure, it talks about SOC related thing. Okay, quality control procedures which are necessary to understand the firm's quality control procedures, systems, and infrastructure they have in place. Very important part. Okay, and they missed out part B4. The same was requested by peer reviewer, that is J&K Associates, via form 6. Okay, on 10/4/2023. Now, as per the provision, Ashok and Company should provide within 1 working day, that is by 11th. They should not, they cannot hold the information and cannot ask the J&K and Associate, that the peer reviewer, to verify the information once they visit on site. As a result, Ashok and Company is required to provide the missing information to J&K Associates within 1 working day of the day of request being received by them. Hence, the reply is not correct. Peer reviewer is correct. Clear? Any doubt? See, at first you might see the question is difficult. You might not know, you feel it is very difficult to answer. But if you are aware of the provision, trust me, these becomes very easy. These are just applications of a provision. I tried to, uh, create questions which are pure applications of the provision in a practical scenario. Okay, so there is one good and good question on this. Okay. So the question talks about, is there any penalty with respect to the peer reviewer or practice unit if they do not adhere to what do you say, this particular request? Okay. Now, if they do not adhere to a request, then there are ways, which are required to be by which way information can be sought. But having said that, there is a way to get an extension also. So if any unit is not able to, provide the information, they can submit a letter to the secretary or peer review board, okay, to seek an, additional time for extending any of the time limit. So they can use Form 7. Form 7 can be used for joint application also made by peer practicing unit and reviewer for seeking additional time. So you can seek additional time also in that case. But if you see, there is an obligation of practice unit, whereas it is written that they are required to provide. In case they fail to provide, in that case, the peer reviewer can qualify the report that okay, he has not obtained sufficient information and he is not able to get the sufficient and appropriate evidence, and hence he is not able in position to comment upon the systems, procedures, and infrastructure at the practice unit. So he might issue a negative report in that case. Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? Okay. Let's take a next question. After conducting on-site review at Ashok and Company, J&K Associate prepared their peer review report along with Form 9. So in continuation, that question that we had earlier, we had just now here, okay, where we had Ashok and Company, the charter accountants as in practice unit, and J&K Associate as a peer reviewer. So after conducting the on-site review at Ashok and Company, J&K Associate prepared their peer review report along with Form 9, wherein they concluded that the practice unit has adequate systems and procedure in compliance with technical, professional, ethical standards. And this report was submitted to the board. Now, Ashok and Company also received a copy of this report. Okay, this report was also forwarded to Ashok and Company. After receiving the report, Ashok and Company raised an objection that J&K Associates did not prepare a preliminary report, and that was first required to be submitted to the practice unit for their review and suggestions. Kindly guide Ashok and Company with respect to the reporting by peer reviewer as per peer review guidelines. Now you need to tell whether there was a requirement, there is any requirement for the preliminary report, there is any requirement with respect to the suggestions and review of the report by practice unit or not. Come on, guys. Come on. What should be the what is the provision which talks about preliminary report, the requirement to submit the preliminary report to the practice unit and their review? What is the requirement? Come on. What is the requirement? Okay. Good, Kaushiki. Absolutely correct, Janvi. Absolutely correct. Come on, guys. Okay. Good, Namrata. Correct, Kaushiki. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm waiting for further answers on this. I want you to participate as much as you can. Try to answer the question so that you can have a clarity on the topic. That is very, very important. Because see, the more you will try to answer, the more you will learn about the topic. You will remember. Okay, you have you sometime try to give the answer, and this was the question, and you remember the things. Okay. Let's see the answer here. Now, what is the procedure that guideline says that? If you go to the procedure, the guideline says that after completion of the review, okay, on the on-site review, the peer reviewer shall submit the preliminary report. Okay, preliminary report when he thinks that there are some observations. Okay, after completing the on-site review, the reviewer is required to submit his preliminary opinion to the practice unit. Okay, when there is some observations, issues, and where he is seeking comment from the practice unit on that particular observation. If there are no observations, so if he thinks that in his opinion, the practice unit had adequate system procedures and in compliance with the technical and professional standard, then there is no need for preliminary report. So if, let's say for example, I'll write it here. If opinion qualified, then preliminary report. Otherwise, you can direct issue final report. So if it is unmodified / clean, you can directly issue the final report. So in the current case, if you see the first option, after completing the on-site review, the reviewer shall submit his preliminary report, preliminary opinion to practice unit in a preliminary report issued by him prior to issuing the peer review report. That is incorrect. Because if there is a qualified opinion, there are some issues, then only preliminary opinion is required to be issued. Let's see the second one. After completing the on-site review, the reviewer shall submit the peer reviewer report to the board along with Form 9 if, in his opinion, the practice unit has adequate systems procedures in compliance with PPE standards, and a copy of report shall be forwarded to the practice unit. This is the correct. And rest 2, again, they talk about submitting the final report to the board, irrespective of the findings, that is incorrect. And the fourth one talks about reviewer is under no obligation to submit any preliminary report. That is also incorrect. So the correct option is second option. If I go back to the notes, see, we talked about unmodified opinion and modified opinion. In case of unmodified, we talked about preliminary report. PU shall submit their representations, and then if satisfied or not satisfied, then only final report is issued. But if it is unmodified opinion, in that case, they can issue directly the final report, because it is unmodified opinion, then peer reviewer is already satisfied and he can submit the final report in Form 9. There is no need for preliminary report. Clear? So no need to submit preliminary report in the current case because the opinion is not modified. I'll highlight this. This is very important. Practice unit has adequate systems and procedures in compliance. So the opinion is not modified. Okay. I would also like to take one question from the yesterday's paper. Very good question on the peer review. Now, let's see the question here. CM Mohan has been appointed peer reviewer of Messrs. TB and Associates. He has asked for all the management consultancy engagement done by the firm and representation before various authorities carried out by Mrs. TB and Associates for his peer review during the period considered for the peer review purpose by the board. He also sent out a mail to the peer review board regarding his selection. Mr. T, the managing partner of the firm, believes that these areas are outside the scope of peer reviewer. Is this contention of Mr. T correct or not? So what do you think? Very important. So he asked for all the management consultancy engagement done by the firm. Okay. all the management consultancy engagement done by the firm, plus he asked for the representations before various authorities carried out by Mr. TNB, Mrs. TNB, for his peer review. Now, Mr. T is saying that these areas are outside scope of peer review. What do you say? Sriram, I checked the internet connection over here and the system connectivity. Both are appearing appropriate fine. I'll request check the internet connectivity at your end once also. Thank you. Come on, guys. In this case, whether Mr. T, the managing partner of the firm that believes that these areas are outside the scope of peer review, is this contention correct of Mr. T? Correct, Janvi. Correct, Namrita. Come on, guys. Come on, come on. I'm waiting for your answer. See, very important to understand how this question uh, talks about the basic of the peer review. Okay, very important and critical point, I'll say. Now, when I talk about peer review, okay, in the very first lecture we discussed, okay, what is peer review and what is like the definition of the peer review, the assurance engagement, everything we discussed about that. Okay, in the first lecture itself. Same way, if I have to talk about with respect to this, so let's say for example, I'll write the answer for you guys. Okay, over here. I'll write the answer for you guys and how I answer this question. See. So first of all, when I'm talking about peer review, okay, the question talks about whether the management consultancies engagements done by the firm and representation before various authorities are correct. So to answer this question, what you need to first answer is, the contention, the provisions relevant to this particular area. Now, if I talk about the provisions relevant to this particular area, what will be those provisions? The definition of the peer review. Okay. And then second thing will be the definition of assurance practice, assurance engagement. That is very important because that is a page that talks about which type of engagements and which type of areas are part of peer review. So let's say if I have to answer, what I'll do is I'm writing the answer over here. So I can say, as per clause 214 of peer review guidelines, peer review means an examination of review system procedure to determine whether the same has been put in place by the practice unit. And if you see, for ensuring the quality of assurance service, this is a very important area. Now, assurance service. Okay. And when I talk about assurance service, okay, what assurance service means is there is a list which is given. So if I have to talk about assurance service, sorry. I'll expand this one just to tell you more. Yeah. So I'm just writing down a rough answer so you guys can understand. Assurance service are service which are defined into the framework of assurance engagement issued by the ICI and may be amended from time to time. Okay, which are designed to enhance the degree of confidence. Degree of confidence intended users other than the responsible party, okay, but does not include management consultancy service, representation before various authorities, engagement to prepare tax returns, engagement for compilation of financial statement, engagement solely assist client, testifying an expert witness, providing expert opinion, engagement for due diligence, okay, and any other services that are not prescribed by the council as assurance engagement. So in the current case, if you see, they were talking about management consultancy engagement and representation various before authorities. But these both are part of the exclusions. Management consultancy and representation before various authorities are part of exclusion from the assurance engagement. So hence, this is, you can then, talk about the current case and then you can conclude that, okay, this is not part of assurance engagement. Here you focus on assurance service and assurance engagement, and hence the selection done by the peer reviewer is not correct or not within the scope defined under the peer guidelines. Clear? This is how you need to write the answer. I just gave you a brief understanding how you need to write an answer. Or you can say a rough idea of the writing an answer in this case. I hope I'm clear. This was a question which came in yesterday's paper. Basic related to the peer review, and we have already covered in lecture 1 itself. If you read the first lecture, we have already covered this exception. Remember? Exception, MCS, representation before various authorities, when I was talking about the assurance services. Assurance services, framework of assurance engagement by ICI, we discussed in detail. So the first thing we discussed in that lecture was this portion. Okay. If no further doubts, what I propose is let's take a quick 10-minute break. We'll gather back after the break, and there are not many questions that we need to cover. So I'll be focusing more on the practical side rather than the theoretical. Trust me. So let's gather back after 10 minutes. Live? Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome back. Okay. So till now we were discussing about the questions of peer review. Okay. I'll take up some more questions on the peer review and then we'll move to the quality review quickly. Now there is one question. Please can you tell in what sequence we can write the answer in the exam? Now there are sequence I told you, like first explain the provision, current scenario, then conclusion. That will be the more appropriate way. And it will be easy for the checker and the reader to read the answer. Okay. So always think about a flow. When you are writing an answer, there should be a flow that, okay, I can connect the dots, I can connect the sentences and paragraphs of your answer, and I can understand what you want to say. It should not be the case like, one provision you have explained in one paragraph, second provision in another paragraph, one line of current scenario in first paragraph, then something in last paragraph. Don't do that. Okay. Go with the flow, explain, connect the dots, okay, and explain the point that you want to convey. Okay. Very good question. This one. Continuation from the above question only. Okay. This is again continuation from above question. After performing the on-site review, Meta and Company peer reviewer concluded that Sujai and Associate Practice Unit lack policies, procedure designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that is sufficient that it has sufficient personnel with capabilities, competencies, and commitment to the ethical principles necessary to perform its engagement in accordance with the professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements to enable the firm or engagement partners to issue reports that are appropriate in the circumstances. Again, peer reviewer concluded that the practice unit lacked policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that it has sufficient personnel. So they are talking about lack of policies and procedures designed with respect to the personnel with capabilities, competency, and commitment. Something related to human resource, you can say. Okay. Further, Meta and Company concluded that the firm lacks performance evaluation, compensation, and promotion procedures that give due recognition and reward to the development and maintenance of competency and commitment to the ethical principles. Again, so they are talking about performance evaluation, compensation, and promotion. Again, related to the same line. This was submitted to Sujai and Associates as a part of preliminary report of their comments. Okay. Now, Sujai and Associates, in their response, reverted that the peer reviewer is required to cover only compliance with technical, professional, ethical standards, quality of reporting, review of systems and procedure for carrying out assurance services, and self-evaluation under the audit quality maturity model or any other guideline issued by the Center for Audit Quality. However, reviewing human resource process, its policies and procedures are not appropriate, and Meta's company is not performing peer review as per guidelines. Kindly guide Sujai and Associate and Meta and Company with respect to the areas that peer reviewer should cover under the review. So Sujai and Associates is saying that they should cover the compliance with technical, professional, and ethical standards, quality of reporting, review of systems and procedures for carrying out assurance service, and self-evaluation under audit quality maturity model, which does not include the human resource. Now you tell me who is correct, Sujai and Associates or Meta and Company? Come on, guys. Who is correct in the current case? As per you, who is correct? Shujam and associates, that they are saying that the peer reviewer is going out of the scope, or Mehta and company? Focus on the objective of the peer review and the scope of the peer review. Uh, Janvi and Namrata, can you give the reasons also why? Okay, Kaushiki. Can you give the reason, Kaushiki? Can you explain a bit further? Any provision you want to, like, anything that this, okay, because of this it is part of, or it is not part of, because of this provision? I want to, a particular answer I'm that looking for, that is on what basis your answer is, you are giving, you are providing, okay, that he is correct, he is a basis. I'm looking for that basis. Good Kaushiki. Yes. Okay, let me tell you. Now see, when I talk about, or in this current scenario, when a review is being conducted for the policies and procedures with respect to the personnel with capabilities, commitment, and competency. Another area when it is being talked about performance evaluation, compensation, and promotion. See, there are two things. We just now in one of the question, some of you have already seen, we were talking about a part that was supposed to be filled by this company, but they missed it out. Let me show you over here. In question number 7, we were talking about filling part B4, human resource of annexure of form 1. Means we are taking the detail of human resource. That is for sure. We just now saw in one of the question. Okay. Second, when I talk about these areas, this is not something new. This is part of my technical, professional, and ethical standard itself. From where it is coming? SQC1, Standards on Quality Control 1. If you read the standard, that standard talks about certain things that a firm should have as a part of a quality control, and that talks about human resource also. Also, if you see clause 3.4 of the peer review guidelines, okay, it talks about the scope of the peer review, the areas that are required to be covered under peer review. That includes compliance with the technical, professional, ethical standards, including SQC1, quality of reporting, systems and procedure for carrying out assurance services, but self-evaluation under audit quality maturity model, but it also covers training program for staff, including article and audit assistant concerned with the assurance function, compliance with the direction or guideline issued by council to its member, including fees to be charged, number of audits undertaken, or compliance with the direction or guideline issued by council in relation to article assistant, audit assistant, including attendance register, work and everything. So it covers a wider area, not only till here, but these are also part of scope of peer review. Okay, training programs, compliance with the directions. Okay, and if I talk about compliance with the technical, professional, and ethical standard, remember when we discuss about the definition of TPE that covers standards on engagement and quality control also. So out of that, one is the standard on quality control, SQC1, which talks about okay quality control for firms that perform audit, and in that case, in that particular standard, there is a requirement that firms should establish policies, procedures designed to provide it with the reasonable assurance that it has sufficient personnel with the capabilities, competency, and commitment to the ethical principles necessary to perform its engagement in accordance with the professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements. Such policies and procedures address the following personnel issues, which is recruitment, performance, capabilities, competency, career development, promotion, compensation, estimation. Okay, and as a result, the peer reviewer is within its scope when he is reviewing these policies and procedures, and Meta company is correct. Clear? So how I answered the question is, first I discussed what is the scope of the peer review, the areas that are required to be covered. Then in that areas, the first one links to the SQC1. Then I explained where SQC1 talks about the human resource, and then I explained, okay, this is part of SQC1. SQC1 is a part of my compliance with technical, professional, and ethical standard, which is part of my peer review scope and the areas that I need to cover under the peer review, and hence Meta and company is correct with respect to their review and the observation. Clear? Any doubts? You can say this particular question also talks about SQC1. It's not only on the peer review, it also talks on the SQC1. Okay. Good. Any doubts, guys? Any doubt? Just a minute. Let us see the next question. We have already covered this. I will not go in much detail. It's same question. Tax audit of Raj. Peer reviewer selected the following sample for the peer review of ABC and Company practice unit. Tax audit of Raj Solvent. Statutory audit of Ajay Tubes and Tires Limited. Central statutory audit of Asha Insurance Corporation Limited. Branch audit of Ahmedabad branch of Gujarat Bank Limited. Application for tax residency certificate. Advisory engagement on implementation of Ind AS 116. Advisory engagement on tax TT benefit to Superfoods Limited. Sorry, just a minute. Then transaction due diligence of Manpreet Limited, advisory engagement on drafting of master service agreement for transaction between parent and subsidiary. Upon receiving the selection from reviewer, ABC and company raised an objection with respect to incorrect selection of engagement for peer review. Kindly guide peer reviewer with respect to the sample selection. Same that's been we saw just now. Okay. Like what are the areas that are required to be covered under sample selections? What can be the sample? What can be my sample and what cannot be my sample? If I talk about here, tax audit good, statutory audit good, central statutory audit good, branch audit good, application for tax residency not good, advisory engagements not assurance, advisory engagement not part of assurance, transaction due diligence not part of assurance, advisory engagement on drafting not part of assurance. So the engagement which are not part of assurance engagements, I cannot select. So only 4 are good samples, rest are not. Clear? Okay. There are few more questions that I want to cover. I'll cover at the end with respect to the peer review. I want to discuss some question on the quality review also. Okay. Because in yesterday's paper, quality review question was also there. So let's discuss on the quality review now. Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay. There is some glitch at my end. Just give me a minute. There is some issue with at my end. Let me stop and reshare. Sorry. Give me a minute. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So let's go with quality review. Yeah. Now, when I talk about quality review, okay, I'll again will be focusing on the practical side. But before I jump onto the practical side, what I'll do is I'll provide you some background on the quality review. Okay, that how the quality review is there and some background on that area. Quickly, I'll explain you. Now, when I talk about quality review, so what is quality review? How it is different from my peer review, and under what are the provisions for quality review, from where it is coming. Basically, when I talk about quality review, it's with respect to, again, okay, as per the you can say provisions, as per the guidelines which are there, it talks about whether the statutory audit has ensured the compliance applicable with technical standards and other applicable professional and ethical standards. It talks about whether the statutory auditor has complied with the relevant professional and ethical standards. On the same line, like we had a peer review, it's also talks about the same. Okay, also talks about the quality of the audit engagements and the reporting. Okay, it talks about whether the quality has been maintained or not. So quality review focuses on the quality of the statutory audit and reporting by the statutory auditor. It's also focused on the quality of framework adopted by the AFUR, that is audit firm under review. Till now, we were using the concept of practicing unit. Now we will be using the concept of AFUR. Both are same, practice unit and AFUR. So in quality review, we called audit firm under review. Okay. So when I talk about audit firm under review, so whether they are good into the, they have quality in the statutory audit and the reporting, whether they have a quality of framework, quality of control framework by the AFUR, so that they can conduct the statutory audit appropriately on the same lines. But I could say it has a bit of narrow scope compared to the peer review. Peer review scope has been recently increased and widened, but again, they are on the same line. Okay. So when I talk about the scope talks about statutory auditor has ensured the compliance with applicable technical standard, whether stat auditor has ensured compliance with technical standards, okay, plus other professional and ethical standards, whether state auditor has complied with laws and regulations. So compliance with relevant laws and regulations, okay, which is required under the applicable auditing standard, whether AFUR, that is audit firm under review, has system of quality control, okay, plus whether there is whether there is any material misstatement of asset and liability at the reporting date in respect of selected entity. So when I go and perform a quality review, same way in the peer review, I select some assurance engagement, I review those assurance engagement. Same way in quality review, I'll pick up some engagements, and when I will review these engagement, I'll make sure, I'll check where is there any material misstatement in the asset and liabilities of those assurance or in the asset and liabilities in the of balance sheet of those particular entities. So we'll check material misstatement, okay, of asset and liabilities, okay, at reporting date in respect of selected entities. Yeah, for selected entities, you can say. So this is a particular, you can say, areas that are covered under the quality review. Now the question comes is, from where the quality review is coming? What is the base of quality review? Like we know peer review is coming from peer review guidelines 2022. What is the base of quality review? So the quality review is coming from section 28A of Chartered Accountants Act, okay, which talks about that central government by notification will constitute a quality review board, an independent board, quality review board. Okay, there there will be 11 members. Okay, in that quality review board. Out of these 11 members, okay, one is the chairman and 10 are the rest other members. Government will nominate the chairman and 5 members. The remaining 5 members are nominated by the Council of ICAI, total 11 members. Okay. Members are nominated from various fields and they have a tenure of 3 years. Here. Okay. So that is the background of quality review, and quality review is conducted by quality review board. Now what happens is quality review board creates quality review groups. Okay. So quality review boards creates quality review group, and quality review groups and technical reviewer are some person who together conduct the quality review. So first comes the quality review board. They create quality review groups. Okay. We know them as a QRG. These groups plus technical reviewers. Okay. Together, like majorly technical reviewer performs the review and he submits his report to the quality review group, and then quality review group, after reviewing the report, they provide their recommendation to the board. So technical reviewer performs the review of AFUR, that is audit firm under review. Then technical reviewer, after performing the review, submits the report to QRG. QRG in turn submits the recommendation with report plus report to board for further action. Okay. For further action. Now, why I am talking about further action, it's a very important. I'll come on that point. Further action. For further action, they submit to the quality review board. Now, this is the whole way how the quality review works. Now, the question comes is, okay, this is the quality review. We saw peer review, how it is different. See, in quality review is performed by, quality review board. It's an independent board. And here, the further actions makes important difference. Okay, makes the important difference. When I talk about peer review is not performed to highlight the issues. Peer review is not performed to pinpoint the issues and to punish you can say, or the firms. It is for the improvement of the firms, the quality, and various aspects with respect to the assurance engagement. So peer review is more onto the improvement side, okay, and it focuses more on the improvement of the audit quality or the quality of assurance engagement. It does not focus on area of that okay reporting, identification of issues and reporting it to the disciplinary committee. But when I talk about quality review board, once a report is submitted to the quality review board, there are some further actions that the quality review board will take. Now these actions are very important. These actions differentiate the quality review from the peer review, and we'll come on that particular point. Okay, so this action is a differentiator point. Also, there is some restrictions with respect to the quality review that we will be discussing in a while. But these are certain things which differentiate between both of them. Okay. Now, when I talk about quality review, as I said, quality review will be performed by the technical reviewers. So again, when I talk about technical reviewers, there are certain qualifications and eligibility criteria given for the technical reviewer that they need to fulfill upon. There are certain guidelines given how a technical review is required to be performed. Okay, and how in detail a technical review should be carried out. So all these guidelines are already given with respect to the quality review. So without going further in detail, let's start with the questions of quality review, so that with the help of the questions I can explain you the concepts also. And I will also be covering question which was asked in yesterday's exam. So don't worry. Okay. First question. Manpreet and associates were selected as technical reviewer by quality review board to review the quality of audit performed by ANZ and company. Before starting the review, Manpreet and associate approach you to understand the purpose of quality review in terms of the provision under the Chartered Accountants Act. Kindly guide Manpreet and associate. Okay. So they want to understand the scope. They want to understand the purpose of quality review in terms of the provisions. Let's see the answer. Quality review in terms of the provision in the Chartered Accountants Act is directed towards the review of audit quality and adherence to the various statutory and other regulatory requirements. Accordingly, the quality review will involve an assessment of the work of statutory auditor while carrying out audit, so that the board is able to assess the quality of the statutory audit reporting by the statutory auditor, quality of the control framework adopted by the AFUR in conducting the statutory audit. Now there are exclusions: review of internal audit, tax audit, and other such special purpose audits conducted by the members of the institute. Because when I talk about quality review, it talks about the audit and reporting by the statutory auditor, not the tax auditor, not the internal auditor. When I talk about peer review, it is assurance engagement. When I talk about quality review, it is by the statutory auditor. The point of difference between the quality review and the peer review. Okay. Statutory auditor. Okay. Statutory audit. Statutory audit. So these are the point of differences, you can say. Of difference between the peer review and quality review. because it is only talking about statutory audit. And when I say peer review talks about assurance engagement. That's why I said peer review has a bit of wider scope compared to my quality review. Okay. Second, quality review does not include or excludes the review of service provided by the members of institute in employment. So if I am in employment, I provide a service in my employment that is not part of quality. These objectives are the we already covered, whether the statutory auditor has ensured compliance with the applicable technical standards in India and other applicable professional and ethical standards and relevant guidelines. See, the definition of technical standards, applicable professional and ethical standards will not differ. Okay, they are very much same. Whether the statutory auditor has ensured compliance with relevant laws, regulations, and required under applicable auditing standard. Again, everywhere if you focus upon, I'm focusing on statutory auditor. Okay. Whether the AFUR has implemented system of quality control with reference to applicable quality control standards. So this talks about SQC1. Whether there is no material misstatement of certain liabilities at the reporting date in respect of selected entity. Okay. So that is basically whole about my quality review and the scope of the quality review. Here, any doubt? I hope you guys have watched the lecture on the quality review. Janvi, is this clear now? The difference between the two reviews? Am I clear with the answer? Okay. So that was the quality review we are talking about. Now, I'll come to the second question. Mr. Ajay, a practicing chartered accountant, wishes to become a technical reviewer and wants to apply for the empanelment as a of technical reviewer. Mr. Ajay has 12 years of experience of post-qualification experience as a chartered accountant and was currently active in the practice of accounting and auditing. Kindly guide Mr. Ajay with respect to the requirement and qualification required for the empanelment as a technical reviewer. So guys, I would like you to answer this question. I want to see how many of you watched the lectures of quality review. So what is the eligibility, qualifications or requirements that are required for to get as empaneled as technical reviewer? If I want to get empaneled as a technical reviewer, what are the qualifications or the eligibility requirements? Come on. If I want to get myself empaneled as a technical reviewer, what are the qualifications or eligibility that I need to have and need to possess so that I can apply for it, apply for technical reviewer? Come on. Come on, guys. I want answer from your side this time. I'm waiting for the answer. Okay, Kaushiki. Good. Correct, Janvi. Come on, guys. Come on. I want more answers. What is the qualification requirement to be a technical reviewer? I'm waiting for the answer. Okay, let us see. So, to qualify as a technical reviewer, the basic uh, eligibility criteria, qualification criteria are: first, a chartered accountant in practice should have a minimum 15 years of experience of post qualification, okay, and be currently active in the practice of accounting and auditing. Means he should be active in practice in auditing and accounting. Minimum 15 years of experience, post qualification experience as a chartered accountant. Number one. Number two, he should have handled as a signing partner or proprietor at least 3 statutory audit assignments during last 10 financial years as a central statutory auditor of banks, public limited companies, government companies, private limited companies having annual turnover of 50 crore or more. So he should have handled at least 3 statutory audits assignments during last 10 years. During last 10 years, out of 15 years, in last 10 years, he should have at least 3 statutory audit assignments of central statutory auditor, public limited companies, government companies, and private limited companies having annual turnover of 50 crore or more. Also, provided that out of these 3 statutory audits, okay, out of these 3 statutory audits, at least one must be in respect of entities other than private limited. Out of these 3 statutory audit assignments, one should be your entities other than the private limited. Means one should be, like central statutory auditor of the bank. One should be public limited companies, like this way. So one should be must be that other than private limited. Just a minute. This is by mistake. This 8 is not there. Okay. So during the above 10 years, he should have won this at least 3 these things. And out of these 3 statutory audit assignment, at least one must be in respect of entities other than private limited. So it cannot be the case that all 3 are Private Limited having turnover of more than 50 crores. Okay. Then he should not have disciplinary proceedings against him. Okay. He should not have any disciplinary proceedings pending against him or penal action taken against him during last 3 financial years or thereafter. He should not be currently a member of QRB, ICI Central Council, Regional Council, Branch Level Management Committee, or or any regional council member. So if he is not a member, there is no any pending penal proceedings or has been taken any in last 3 financial years. If he has served as an proprietor or signing partner at least 3 statutory audits, and if he has minimum 15 years of post qualification experience and currently active in the practice, then only he can apply for technical review. So these are certain conditions or criteria for being appointed as a technical reviewer. Now, Mr. Ajay in the current case was having only 12 years of post qualification experience. We do not have further detail on the other statutory audits and everything, but from the experience point of view itself, he is not able to qualify or he is not eligible for appointment of the technical reviewer. Hence, he is not eligible to apply for technical review. Clear? Any doubt? Okay. Now, I will take one question which was there in the previous yesterday's exam. Force, yeah, 4C. Okay. Sorry, I was able to only get this copy of the paper. Okay. ABC and Company is a firm of chartered accountants located at Mumbai with branches at Kolkata, Chennai. During the financial year 2021-22, the firm carried out the following audits of 18 listed companies, consisting of statutory audit of 18 listed companies, consisting of 10 companies with turnover exceeding 1,000 crores, 1 public sector listed company, rest being 9 companies in private sector, 8 companies with turnover exceeding 500 crore and less than or equal to 1,000 crores. Okay, so total 18 listed companies, out of which, okay, 10 companies with turnover exceeding 1,000 crores, 1 company is a public sector listed company, and rest 9 being companies in private sector. Okay, 8 companies were having turnover of this, 24 private limited companies. So 18 listed and 24 private. This is the financial year 21-22 and the audit carried out by the ABC and Company. Okay, fine. The firm had subjected itself to the peer review process during 2021. So it was peer review process during 2021 and continues to hold a certificate issued by peer review board with validity date unexpired. Means It is not yet expired, so they have a valid peer review certificate. That is fine. During FY 22-23, it has been decided that the firm be subject to the quality review by quality review board of the institute. Okay, so it is covered under the quality. Now, first question: can quality review be so conducted for this firm? Question number 1: can quality review be so conducted for this firm? If yes, can one of the audit of listed companies, that is audit of public sector company done by a firm, this one, public sector one, this public sector limited company, okay, can the audit of this public sector listed company done by the firm subject to the QR by QRB? Okay, so two questions. One, can I conduct quality review of this firm? Number two, can I cover this listed entity in my quality review? I want you guys to answer. I want you guys to answer this question. Let's say, for example, you are sitting in yesterday's exam. This question has came across to you, like you are appearing in the exam. What you will answer? Two questions have been asked here. Can quality review be conducted of this firm? If yes, can I select audit of listed company? Audits of listed company. Very good question, I would say, and very important question also. Come on, guys. Absolutely correct, Janvi. Partially correct, Kaushiki. Come on, guys. Janvi, I want the logic or the reason why behind your answer. That is also very important. This is a 4 marks question that have been asked for the quality review. Come on, guys. Let's assume that you are sitting in the exam and this question is, like you are sitting in the yesterday's exam and you are answering this question. What will be your answer? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, Kaushiki. And that's I was looking for an answer. Okay. Now, to discuss the answer of this question, I'll go back to the quality review. First of all, when we were discussing the quality review, we were focusing on, I'll go to the questions of the quality review. We were discussing about the statutory audit and the reporting by the statutory auditor in the coverage. Okay. However, there is an exception to this, which was clarified by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now, one, what is that exception? So, Section 28 of the Chartered Accountants Act, okay, Section 28 of the Chartered Accountants Act, 28B of the Chartered Accountant Act provide that the board shall perform the following functions: to make a recommendation to the council with regard to the quality of service provided by the members, to review the quality of service provided by the members of the institute, including audit service, to guide the member of institute to improve the quality of service adherence to the various statutory and other regulatory requirements, to forward the cases of non-compliance with the various statutory and regulatory requirements by the members of the institute or firms noticed during the course of its review to the disciplinary directorate for examination. And this is the amendment part, was recently added. Okay. Now, if you see the second point, review quality of service provided by the members of the institute, including audit service. So that is well within the scope of Section 28B of Chartered Accountants Act, that they can review the quality of service provided by the members of the institute, including audit service. Now, there are certain other rules and regulations. I'll focus on the NFRA rules, or you can say NFRA rules. Okay. Now, there are two NFRA rules, Rule 3.1 and Rule 9.4 of NFRA rules. Okay. Rule 9.4, I'll talk about first Rule 9.4 of NFRA rules. What 9.4 talks about? So, if you read the rules, Rule 9.4, okay, what it says that it talks about overseeing the quality of service and if you read the rule itself, it talks about overseeing the quality of service and suggesting measures for improvement. Overseeing the quality of service and suggesting the measures for improvement. And that particular rule in itself, I will show you over here. I'll show you the rule here itself. This is the rule I'm talking about. And the first point of the rule itself says that on the basis of its review, the authority may direct an auditor to take measures for the improvements of audit quality, including changes in their audit process, quality control, audit reports, specifying a detailed plan with the time limits. Okay. It shall be duty of the auditor to make the required improvements, that is there. The authority shall monitor the improvement made by the auditor. Okay. Now, fourth point, the authority may refer cases with regard to overseeing of quality of auditors of the company or body corporates referred in Rule 3 to the Quality Review Board constituted under Chartered Accountants Act, or call any report or information in respect to such auditors or companies or body corporate from such board as may deem appropriate. Okay. The authority may take assistance of expert. Now, if you read this rule talks about reviewing the audit quality. Okay. Reviewing the audit quality for the improvement of audit quality and referring the cases with regard to the overseeing of quality of service of auditors of companies and body corporate referred under Rule 3. Now, what is Rule 3? of NFRA rules. Rule 3 talks about certain entities, okay, certain entities which are specified by central government, which will be governed by the authority. If you read Rule 3.1 basically, it says that the authority shall have power to monitor and enforce compliance with the accounting standards. Auditing particular rule, it says that the authority can look into auditing standards, overseeing the quality of service under subsection 2 of section 132. Okay, and when I talk about the authority is NFRA. So if NFRA is looking onto such entities, then there was a clarification by Ministry of Corporate Affairs that quality review board, okay, quality review board can only review these entities if they are referred by NFRA under Rule 9. Otherwise, quality review board shall not review these entities. Okay. So, quality review board can only review if the case or reference has been made by NFRA, not otherwise. Okay. And we saw 9.1, 9.4, where the reference is made. Unless and until no reference has been made, these entities cannot be reviewed by quality review board. I'm talking about entities, not the audit firm. Okay. And here also, it is, if you see, compliance with the accounting standards, auditing standards, it talk about the entity. Okay. For the following body corporate, classes of companies or body corporate or the entity. So which companies are there? Companies whose securities are listed on stock exchange, unlisted public companies having paid up capital not less than 500 crores or having annual turnover not less than 1000 crores or aggregate loan or deposit not less than 500 crores, insurance, banking, companies engaged in generation of electricity, okay, or any companies governed by any special act, any body corporate, company or person, okay, reference made by authority, any body corporate or entity registered outside India, which is a subsidiary of clause A to D. If income or net worth of such subsidiary or associate exceeds 20% of the consolidated income or consolidated net worth of the company. So for these companies, review can only be conducted by NFRA, not the quality review board. Okay. So now I'll come back to the question that was asked in yesterday's exam. Now the first question was, can quality review be conducted for the firm? Answer is yes, based on my section 28B. Section 28B allows QRB to select this firm. Now the second question, if yes, can one of the audit of the listed companies, audit of the public sector company done by the firm in 21-22 be subject of quality review board, quality review by the quality review board? That will be no, because unless it is referred by NFRA under Rule 9.4, entities covered under Rule 3.1 are or cannot be subject to quality review. Clear? So question 1, yes. Question 2, no. Clear? Question 1, yes. Question 2, no. Question 1, yes. Because of the section 28B of the Chartered Accountant Acts, Quality Review Board can review. Section 28B empowers the Quality Review Board to review the quality service provided by the members. But when I talk about the NFRA rules talks about Rule 3.1 that the following class of companies or body corporate will be governed by or monitored by NFRA, and unless and until a reference being made under Rule 9.4 of NFRA rules, QRB cannot review these audits under quality review. So based on this, I can select an audit firm. I cannot select the entity. Clear? So this is one of the questions which was asked in yesterday's exam. I explained in the detail. So any of the entity which is forming part of my Rule 3.1 cannot be selected for the quality review. I hope it is clear. Kaushiki, NFRA is a body which is constituted under section 132 of the Companies Act. I'll suggest you have a read of section 132. It's talks about the constitution of NFRA. Okay. Then there are NFRA rules which provides the background of functioning and everything, and the powers of NFRA. It's a overseeing regulatory authority for the for the audits and sort of reviewing authority for the audit of listed companies and companies. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt? Are you clear with this question which was asked in yesterday's exam? Why yes, and question number 1, why yes, and question number 2, why no? Are you clear? Any doubt, guys? Okay. If no doubts, then I propose to conclude the session here. But before concluding, I would like to request each one of you to revisit the lectures before next lecture, that is on the Wednesday, because I will be again focusing more on the practical side rather than deep diving into the theory part. We will be covering the questions as much as we can. We'll be covering the past questions. We'll be covering some new questions. Everything we'll be covering, but from the practical side of SA2. So for that, I request you guys to go through the lectures, go through the material, go through the notes that you already have, okay, for SA200, and be prepared for the next lecture, okay, because I will be expecting answers from your side. Yes, so there is one question, doubt that exam questions are coming from very detailed topics or specific problems. Yes, they are coming from very specific, because they are case basis scenarios, and it will be a specific one, and they expect an specific answer to a specific question. So that's why we are investing the time, to discuss the questions in detail, the provisions, how to write an answer, so that you can write specific answers to these questions. Okay. If no further questions or queries, then I'll propose to close this session. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the next lecture. The session concluded. Ashok ji.